Happy Monday! Characteristics of life. Ladies and gentlemen, we are diving right into a new topic and a whole new subject matter, biology. Characteristics of life deal with organisms. So this is going to be a really amazing unit because you guys are going to be able to research your own animals. And fourth quarter is going to be run a little bit differently because I want you guys to have fun with this. So I'm going to assign a project every week that you're going to have to work on and give me a little bit back every day so that you have a final project at the end of the week. And it's going to be amazing. And every day, I'll be available if you have any questions on what you're supposed to be doing. So I'll be checking in on you. So here we have notes. So what I would suggest is that you can either copy the notes off the computer, because I will post this online, or you copy them as we're going through it. I'm going to give you a little quiz at the end of this, okay? So the topic is called characteristics of life. So what is a characteristic? A characteristic is a attribute. It's something that the organisms have. So when we look at characteristics of life, what does it actually mean? It's a characteristic of life. In order to be living, what do we need to be living? And there's a big controversial topic right now. We're home and we're not in school because of the coronavirus. Many scientists believe that viruses are not alive. And there are several scientists that believe that viruses are. So we're going to be debating that. So that's going to be your actual project of the week. Is a virus a living thing? So what is a living thing? How can you determine if something is living by just looking at it? Don't write this down, but you're going to be answering this question in your head. So I've developed this acronym that's going to help you understand characteristics of life. It's as simple as driving in your little red car. Your red car, R for regulation, E for energy, D for development, C for cells, A for adaptation, and R for reproduction. So if you can remember what every letter stands for in red car, you remember the characteristics of life. The first characteristic that we're going to discuss is regulation. If you want something regular, just keep it the same. So how do people react to changes in their environment? Well, if something changes, we call it a stimulus. If something changes, we react to it. Changes happen all the time. Our stimulus right now is this distance learning. How are we responding? How are we reacting to it? If you touch a hot pan, you're not going to keep your hands on it. Your response is to remove it. So the change in the environment is a change in temperature. So remember we talked about heat, and our bodies don't know temperature. They only know changes. So if you touch the hot pan, well, your hand is not hot, but you touch the hot pan, you know, oh, this is hotter than my hand. I better get my hand off of it because this is dangerous. A stimulus and a response is a mechanism that all organisms have to keep themselves alive. We must react to changes in the environment, otherwise we could be dead. So we use the term homeostasis, and you're going to hear that a lot. Homeostasis only talks about the organism's inside world, so inside my body. 80% of my body is water. I have to maintain 80% of my body to be water. So we have a mechanism that allows us to become thirsty. If your body is not 98.6 degrees, there is a mechanism that allows you to bring up your body temperature. Otherwise, we're in trouble. We're going to get hypothermia, or hyperthermia, rather. You will get a change in your body temperature, and it will stimulate a response. Too much heat, you sweat. Not enough heat, what do? You shiver. So let's go over this. R in red car is regulation. It's a change, a reaction to our environment. There are 3 words you need to know. Stimulus, that's the actual change. Response, this is what we do when something comes into play. And homeostasis. Homeostasis, keep everything the same. Look at the tree. It's actually a plant. Look at that plant. It's not growing straight. Why isn't it growing straight? Because there's no light overhead. Where is the light? The light's coming out the window. So in order for the plant to grow, it needs light, so it has to grow toward the light. The stimulus is the sun, and how it grows is the response. Okay? So take a second and think of your own stimulus response. Examples. If the phone rings, you answer it. What was the stimulus? That's right, the phone ringing. And your response is to answer it. If the phone rang all day long and it never stopped ringing, you would probably get used to it and that wouldn't be a change in your environment. The minute the phone stopped, you'd be like, wait a minute, what happened? The phone stopped ringing. Something's wrong. That would be a difference. Energy, it can't be created. We know that song, right? Energy. All living things use energy. Well, the main source of energy for everything is sunlight, directly or indirectly. So if the sun didn't exist, we wouldn't be alive because the sun has to give the energy to the plants give the energy to the animals, and then the animals give the energy to us. But we are omnivores, so we can eat plants and we can eat animals, but we can't eat sunlight. So that energy has to be converted by the plants. So we need the plants to convert the sunlight. And we need the other animals as well, because they all have special jobs in our ecosystem that we're going to talk about. All right, so R, recap in red car, regulation or response. Energy is the E. Every organism needs energy. Okay, red. Skip it. Where's red? Really, Melissa? What'd I do? Red. Red. It's supposed to be develop and grow. Here we go. Red. It's supposed to be D. This is supposed to say develop. But who made a mistake here? I don't know. So red car. D is to develop. In order to develop and become an organism that has the best survival rates, you have to grow. You have to get bigger. You have to change your appearance. You have to adapt to your environment. So develop and grow. The monarch butterfly is a egg, then a caterpillar, then a pupa, then it becomes a butterfly. It has a life cycle. All organisms go through a life cycle. We are an egg at one point. We are one cell. Then we become a zygote, and then a fetus, and then a baby, and then a child, and a teenager, and adult, and then we die. We have a life cycle. Plants have life cycles. You have to change and grow. If an organism doesn't change, develop, and grow over its lifetime, it's not classified as living. So far, in order to be living, you have to be able to respond. In order to be living, red car. E, you have to be able to take in energy. D, develop. Red car. C, you have to be made up of cells. This is where it gets tricky. Viruses are not cells, they're capsids. So that's why people don't believe that viruses are living. So in order to be a living organism, you have to be able to have your own cell. Humans are made up of billions of cells. Bacteria are living things. They're made up of one cell. Blood cells are part of humans. This is an example of an onion cell. There are many, 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 many cells in an onion. Some organisms are unicellular. That means they have one cell. Some organisms are multicellular. That means they have many cells. All right. Red car. Let's get to A. Adapt. The ability to adapt, to adjust, to change to your environment. Adapt is not a verb in this case, though. It is a noun. Why? Because you have to have a physical feature that allows you to adapt. Hummingbirds would not be able to eat if they didn't have these long beaks to fit into their specific flowers to get their nectar. They also have another quality that allows them to survive. They can fly really fast because they have really, really, really strong, fast wings, and they're really tiny birds. Chameleons have so many different adaptations. One of their best ones is they have the ability to grip onto branches and trees to climb. They have scales in the back, and sometimes they change color. They have the ability to camouflage to hide from predators. What's an adaptation that a spoonbill has? What does a spoonbill have? Well, why is it called a spoonbill? Because it scoops up the fish with its beak. All birds have beaks and feathers. The unique characteristic of their beak determines what they can eat. An adaptation is a noun, and that is a physical feature. So we have R. Do you remember what R stands for? Think. Unless you wrote it down, look on your paper. R stands for regulate. E. In order to be living, you must have energy. Red car. D. Develop and grow. C stands for cells. A. Adaptation. Red car, rah. Last one. All organisms have adaptations. Look at the adaptations these bugs have. This monkey has. Here's an adaptation that humans have. We have the ability to keep our body temperature consistent. Too hot, you sweat. Too cold, you shiver. Oh, here we go. R, reproduce. In order to be living, you must have the ability to make your own kind by yourself or with another organism of the same species. So you're making a new organism, sexual reproduction or asexual, necessary for the survival of the species. And we call these new organisms offspring. And they have to have similar characteristics of you or identical. If you are living, you must be able to reproduce. All right, living or non-living. So I'm going to set up a little lab, and you're going to put your paper like this. So we're going to do labs, and you're going to tell me, does this respond? Does it use energy? Can it develop or grow? Is it made up of cells? Does it have an adaptation? Does it reproduce? And then you tell me if it's living or non-living. So it's going to be tomorrow's little lab. You're also going to have a little assignment called, is a virus a living thing? That's going to be coming up next week. So we're going to put all these together. We're going to talk about the needs of organisms. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff that are going on. So I'm going to try and make this class a little bit more interactive for you. So you're going to have to watch me, and then you'll answer the questions. All right. Have a great day.